All right, Seahawks fans, let's take a second to talk about just an athletic freak that it feels like has been lost somehow in all the draft craziness. And I don't know if it's because the Seahawks absolutely nailed their first three picks when we're talking about Gray Zabel at guard out of North Dakota State, or Nick Amenwari, who is just, that might be my favorite pick to fit in the entire draft. I just love that pick. Or even Elijah Arroyo. And we're going to talk about that one too in this video. But the person we are going to talk about today is Jalen Milroe. How many of you are talking about him, and what is the buzz over in Seattle? If you're not sure what we do here on this channel, my name is Craig. I almost got my name wrong. My buddy Chris and I started this channel. We have another one, Sports Talk Detroit, because we are Lions fans. But we love the NFL, and especially teams that the national media seems to just kind of gloss over or ignore. And so we want to show love to those teams. So if you're on this channel, you're going to see a lot of Seahawks videos, a lot of Browns, a lot of Texans, all right? Things and teams like that. A little bit of Raiders, right? The Raiders, all right, all that kind of stuff. But we love giving you an honest opinion from afar of what your team looks like. Now, the disadvantage to that is I'm not walking the streets, and I don't know what everybody over there is talking about Jalen Milroe. I have a couple of really good friends here in Michigan that are talking, and they're not talking about Jalen Milroe. All their conversation is about Nick Amenwari and wondering if Gray Zabel was drafted too high. That's the conversation that's happening from what I hear from people who love the Seahawks. But what is your take on Jalen Milroe? I just want to show just a couple of things. When you look at Jalen Milroe, it cannot be understated enough how fast he is. He ran a 4.4. I believe in the pro day, he was like a 4.34 or something like that. Just ridiculous speed. But what is being overlooked by this guy is his ability to actually pass. He can throw. And I'm going to make an argument for this for a minute, but let's go ahead and look at his draft profile from PFF. All right, let's just go ahead and take a look at his draft profile. All right, his player comp is Quincy Carter, which is, I don't know, maybe. All right, but maybe throwing. So here's where he struggles more than anything. Decision-making, poise, and accuracy and touch. That's what they're saying. But they're saying his velocity's good. His clean accuracy, his velocity's phenomenal. His clean accuracy is good. Distance, how far can he throw, is phenomenal. His progressions does have some to be desired. But his mechanics aren't terrible. Look, here's the deal. Here's a guy that comes out, and I think, honestly, he gets a bad rap as someone who can't throw. And I think he can. I don't think that's a fair statement to put on Jalen Milroe. And I'm going to show you some stats that back this up. When you look at PFF, right over here, all right, right over here, they give passing grades. This year doesn't count because he barely played in 2022. But in 2023 and 2024, something very interesting happened in between. I think a lot of people saw Jalen Milroe take a step back this year. Yeah, he had a new coach. He had a new coach. But here's the things that you have to understand. His deep passing grade was a 93.1. Phenomenal deep ball. His no pressure grade was an 88.7, and his intermediate passing grade, passing into the intermediate levels, was phenomenal, something that is absolutely needed at the NFL level. But look at this. 2,800 yards in 2024, 2,800 yards in 2023. Here's the difference. In 2023, under Nick Saban, 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Get a new coach, new system. After lighting the world on fire against Georgia in like week 1 or 2 or 3 or something like that. Week 4. Just absolutely lighting the world on fire against Georgia and Vanderbilt. It got really dicey and up and down and weird the rest of the way. This guy he was making throws like crazy. But if you go back and watch in 2023, after a rough start to the season, he got things figured out and led that Alabama team all the way to a national semifinal, beating Georgia along the way. All right, and then losing to just a phenomenal Michigan team. All right, I'm just going to say it. Phenomenal Michigan team. And hey, you got a guy who was the Michigan defensive coordinator for a minute. Not that year, but he was the Michigan D coordinator the year before Michigan won that national championship and stopped Jalen Milroe. And so when we look at all of these things, why not take a flyer on a guy like this? And then you can come to realize, like, hey, we took care of business. We took care of business with our first 3 picks. So we're good to go. But when you have rookie minicamp coming up, you need to start watching and you need to pay attention to what the beat writers are saying. We'll be paying attention. I'll be coming back on here having conversations about it because we need to decide and we need to figure out, like, is this a guy of the future? Which brings up a totally different question. What is your trust level in Sam Darnold? Is it higher or lower than it was your previous quarterback? That's the question I have for you because he signed a good contract with the Raiders, all right, and you got Sam Darnold at a cheaper rate. You got him at a cheaper rate, and there's basically a team out after a year. So when you see that you drafted Jalen Milroe, are you viewing him as, number 1, quarterback of the future? Number 2, dude's a running back. Like number 3, Taysom Hill, New Orleans Saints. You bring over Kubiak from the Saints, who utilized Taysom Hill in so many different ways. As a receiver, as a runner, as a dual threat quarterback, in goal line situations. Do you think that that's what Jalen Milroe's role will be with the Seahawks even as soon as year 1? Do you think he's this guy that can contribute just because of his elite athleticism? And by the way, he did run a 4.4. Totally understand that. But I would also make the argument that he's a guy who, yes, he ran a 4.4, but his game speed on film is even faster than that. He looks even faster than that. So, yes, I do look at that, and I think to myself, like, maybe there's a future. There are a lot of quarterbacks who were mobile quarterbacks that came into the league that people were like, they're not that great of a passer. They're more just mobile. But it's a very rare list to find mobile quarterbacks that have the legs that Jalen Milroe has. It's like Lamar Jackson, right? Like it's a one of one. All right, Jaden Daniels doesn't have nearly the athleticism Jalen Milroe has. Kyler Murray doesn't have it. Close, but he doesn't have it. Mighty Mouse, right? Like, this is different. And I think when you see him in the preseason, you're going to fall in love with his legs and you're going to be at times infuriated at the decision-making. But let's see what a year, 2 years, 3 years. 3 years. Let's see what it does. And we'll see where Sam Darnold's at because you basically have an out after year 1, year 2, and then it's a 3-year contract. So let's see where that's at, and let's see where Jalen Milroe's at the same time. All right, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.